Now, the artist Saba has won Dansk Melodi Grand Prix and will now represent Denmark at the 2024 Eurovision Song Contest. After a series of votes, she found herself in a super final alongside Janus Wiberg and Basim. Saba managed to capture the hearts of both juries and televoters the most, securing 37% of the combined vote. Saba will bring the song Sand to the Song Contest's second semifinal in May. Now, did you watch Dansk Melody Grand Prix? What did you think of the show? And what did you think of the song?
I did not. I did not it. I did not it watch live.
I thought I was a non-native here.
I did not watch it live, but I did watch all of the performances earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, it was not actually. I know this is crazy to be saying this for Denmark. It was not that bad. I actually
Mm-hmm.
quite enjoyed myself, and there are a number of songs that I would have listened to again. They changed Arena this year. I thought that really worked for them. They had a decent selection of songs. And there was some awkwardness around the result because the public had a clear televote preference that didn't win, which was, to be honest,
Yeah.
just as well, in my opinion. We'll come on to that in a minute. I thought it was actually a really good show from Denmark, and I thought it was a step forward. I think there's a lot still to change about the way they approach the contest, but it was nice to see that they actually really took a step forward this year. I don't know if have you watched it? Have you seen? What are your opinions? What are your thoughts, Roy?
I did not watch the show, but I did watch back the performances, and I think the overall quality of the songs improved slightly. But I'm still not sure if they're in the right place to really be like revitalized in a way. I think it's still very much more the basic pop songs and kind of like the voice winner kind of songs participating in the selection. There was that one song that was a bit more alternative that was my preference, but I mean, I knew that was never going to happen, which was Ublu with Planetary Hearts. Um, but in general, it was all pretty much pop, I think. I will say the stage looked absolutely stunning. Like, that was a drop that gorgeous stage. It looked really, really good. And honestly, Denmark is really good at that every single year. And yeah, I mean, Sand is at the moment not my favorite song. I think it's just a bit random to sing sand on the top of your lungs. But yeah, it's all right. She sings it very well. She performs it very well. It will definitely have its fans as well, and I think it's a decent selected song, to be honest.
I agree. I thought it was a good song. I thought they staged it really nicely. One thing I
Mm,
will say, this song is really giving like Thomas Gison Melfest entry kind of
yeah.
vibe. Some people might think that's a good thing. Some people might not. I still think it's a decent song. I just think while it's a step forward, and Saba was great, and the staging was really nice actually, and
Hmm.
really suited. They did manage to put together a nice stage in a much smaller venue, which I think was the right thing for them to do. I do think it's like a step. This is like a stepping stone. Like, could we see Denmark in the final with this? Yeah, I can see it. If they were in semi-final one, I'd have more doubts. I think the other
Hmm.
thing we should note actually is that there is also, I think, something to note of in this selection. This is the first time Denmark has sent a black artist to Eurovision, which is a excellent and long overdue milestone. Like I say, if they preserve the staging and keep it as beautiful as it was, and the vocal performance is really good, it has a final chance. Like I said, this is giving second chance round in Melfest, but
Hmm.
that's not necessarily a terrible thing. There are plenty of good songs in the second chance round of Melfest that don't go through. Shout out to Statements. Justice. It's been 7 years. I'm not over it.
It's been 7 years and you're still not over it. Wow. Um, Yeah, I think you pretty much nail it. And as well, with the discussion we had with Estonia, there's a lot of songs that seem to be more dancey and a bit more in your face. And this song is just more of a, let's say, more normal kind of pop ballady song, I guess. Is that how you can describe it? I think so. And
Yeah,
maybe
I'd
in a
say so.
year like this, it can actually stand out a little bit more rather than in usual years, because there will be a lot more songs that are so heavily catered towards the televote and being in your face. And this is more like,
Mm.
whoa, she performed that well. it will impress a
Yeah.
few people, I think.
The other thing is, if anyone wants a jump scare, go and listen to the first few seconds of "I'll Be Fine" by Molly Petterson Hammer, because I got some serious flashbacks. At the same time, I think overall, quick clarification, by the way, first solo black artist. Someone's
Ah,
correctly pointed out in the chat.
I see. Krølle eller ei. Good song, by the way.
Of the others, I did actually notice a sort of theme in terms of like derivative songs. Like I watched Basim's performance, and a bunch of my friends and I all noticed, we were watching them together, we all noticed it was really giving Maps by Leslie Roy, like in the style of the song and the staging. We looked at it and thought, oh my God, it's Maps by Leslie Roy. Yeah, and as for Ublu, you mentioned them; they were one of my favorites as well. It was sort of slightly more gay cyan kicks, which was a vibe that I was really digging as well. So yeah, there's, like I said, there's actually quite a lot to talk about here, which is unusual for Denmark because it's kind of been a flyover national final for me in the past where it's not been able to grab me. But I would listen to a lot of these songs again, and it was a nice show. So I can't believe I'm saying this. Well done, Denmark. We might let you out of the closet of shame this year.
Wow, that's a great compliment from you. That doesn't happen often.
I've turned over a new leaf.
Is it even a compliment?
Roy, this year I'm positive. I am a ray of sunshine.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for that massage.
2 weeks, 3 weeks before I go on an unhinged rant.
That's stretching it already, I think. We have Maria Bueno asking, do you think she could qualify? She is in the first half of the second semi-final, and they are almost all female bobs there. What do you think? Will she be drowned out by those or not? I don't even know who was in.
Thinking of the other songs, so the songs that they're referring to are Pedestal by Aiko, We Will Rave by Colleen, which none of us have heard.
I have not.
Oh no, I did. I had been trying to avoid it, but it auto played on the timeline for me, so I
immediately closed it.
Yeah, and once I heard a few seconds, I was like, I didn't realize what it was, and then I was like, oh, and then also Zemran and Door as well. You've also got Luke by Sara Bonici and whatever Marina Sati sings. Here's the thing, right? I've got to be honest. Like Sara Bonici is a really talented performer, and it is difficult to perform a song like that and dance and do all the choreo and everything and still sound good, which she did. Credit to her. It's not a great song. Aiko, I think, is going to be a lot better than the national final, but it's a very different song to this one. It caters to a different subset of people.
It's more alternative, I would say.
And we should say at this stage, like I say, while I think it's going to be a lot better, there is that question mark, so we're not sure yet. Zemran and Door, totally different. It's a ballad. We Will Rave, none of us have heard yet, so we don't know. I actually do think there is an avenue for this song. And if you look at these songs compared to the kind of competition it would have in semi-final one, this is clearly the better semi-final to be in for it at this stage. Yeah. Even if it's around other, female-led bops, I think it has enough about it to at least challenge to get to the final. It's not going to finish like 13th or 14th in the semi. If it misses out, it won't be by much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that people will see her talent, and that will be something that people will vote for, regardless whether you're a bop or a ballad or something like that. And yeah, she performed it really well. Like, you cannot say anything about that. Well, you can say it was good, basically. You cannot fault her or anything with her performance, really. And if she can bring that in at Eurovision with an even more polished staging, to be honest, there isn't really that much that needs to be changed. But in Eurovision, you'll have an LED instead of what Denmark had in the backdrop. But I love those lasers. You had those lasers at some point. I had it in the little video as well with the fog. And I'm like, I hope they have those lasers at Eurovision, because that looked absolutely stunning.
I will say I think they will, because basically my expectations of, rather, obviously you have the stage itself, in terms of the effects that are going to be available, I'm not really looking at Melfest this year, which is clearly a bit stripped back to cater to the fact they're doing the main show.
Yeah.
But given the amount of noise they're making about how flexible the stage is, I'm expecting a lot of the effects that we saw at Melfest last year. That means there'll be, I imagine, provision for suspension, like we had with Lorene's giant panini, toasty, whatever, maker.
Yeah.
There's going to be a really, really diverse array of sort of lasers and lights available, probably more than we've seen before. Like, we can say what we like about Melfest or about Sweden or whatever else. It's a fashionable thing to bash on Sweden in this fandom. I know, because I do it. I literally tweeted like yesterday during the Estonia results, like, Sweden, like, I hate you, Sweden, because they gave 1 point to Visminas. But they do some things really well. And this stage is going to be one of them. The Stockholm 2016 stage, in my opinion, was excellent. And I think they will deliver on that again. They know how to produce a show. That is the best bit of having Eurovision in Sweden, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it will look crisp no matter what. Like in 2016, I think 80% of the songs looked absolutely incredible, and the 20% that didn't look as incredible is more due to the broadcasters not coming up with the best plan or the most solid plan to really make it elevate the song that they sent. And it's not really something that the Swedish delegation could have changed about. Like, they'll have toys to play with basically in Sweden.
Plenty of them.
Yes, hopefully. And not with too much cost for the pyros. You need to buy them by the bunch. Do we have any more questions about Denmark? Let's do a quick scroll. At ESC United, by the way, if you have a question, so we can pick it out easier to see which are directed at us and which are just to chat with other people, because that's also fun, of course. And if there are no more questions or no more points from you, I think we should move on to the next country. Should we do that?
Yeah, just one from Stephen, which we can answer very quickly. Why did they put the studio cut over the national final performance? It's Denmark. Like, it's Denmark. It's just the kind of thing that Denmark does.
It's up to the broadcaster, and I guess, I don't know. I have no idea why. Maybe there was something that went wrong during the show that they didn't want people to see.
Honestly, Roy, I just think it's Denmark, because they do this thing. They don't fund a music video. They just put the national final performance in as the music video. So, I remember them doing it for Anya Nissen years and years ago.
Yeah.
In 2017, like, it's just the kind of thing they do. They never even did one for Only Teardrops, and that won the whole bloody show. Like,
it's just Denmarking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.